Diosis, we're back with Don Bang Bang Delperdang for In This Corner. When we last spoke to John, he was heading into his fight against Hammer and Hank Lundy. That fight occurred. It was a decision loss. Lundy came out on top. We are here with John right now, as well as his promoter, Bernie Valenzuela. We're going to go through the fight. Talk about how John felt about the fight and where to go next. So here we have John and we have Bernie Valenzuela.
How you guys doing out there?
All right. So John, let me start her off. Let's go from the beginning. How was your experience in Ohio? This was your second United States out-of-state fight.
Yes.
So right when you got to Ohio, how did you feel? You're in a new state. Have you ever been to Ohio before?
No, I never been to Ohio. I actually felt really calm. I felt really good. I didn't start feeling nervous till right before I went into the ring. And then once I got there, you know, like he was Hank's a cool, you know, he's a real nice man. But you know, he has that persona where he tries to act like all crazy.
Were you experiencing any of that, like in the build-up to the fight, press conference, weigh-in?
Well, I could see he tried, but you know, like the way I grew up, you know, I dealt with a lot of knuckleheads. You know, I was knucklehead when I was a kid, so you know, for you to play something, you know, like because he even states it himself that he acts like that to, I guess, get in your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't act that. You know, like I grew up. That's how I grew up. I grew up around a lot of foods like that.
So none of it got to you at all? Anything he was...
Now, the thing that got to me had nothing to do with him. The thing that got to me was just, you know, this was my first 12-round fight. My first 12-round fight, we were fighting for a title. There was a lot on the line for me and my family. So I ultimately messed up. You know, I froze up.
But explain a little bit about that. Talk about more about the lack of the experience for the 12 rounders. What was going through your mind? Because if anything, you might be able to help some of the fighters out there that are going to experience that. So off of your experience, educate some of these guys. What do you think?
So in my head, I was thinking, all right, I've been 8 rounds. I know I could go 8 rounds in a fight. I don't know if I can go 12. So I was thinking in my head, damn, am I going to be able? Am I going to gas out? Am I going to? For anybody that's a fighter, don't worry about can I last. If you can't last, just catch your breath with your hands inside your head. Because regardless, if you do that, what I did, I tried to be real tight, real defensive for the first 6 rounds, which was stupidity because I could have got him more tired working, and you know I could have done more, and I would have ended up doing the same thing if I was tired, just going like this. For just letting him hit me.
Right,
you know,
right.
Stupidity.
Well, no weight issues going into the fight, right?
No, there was no weight issues. And first off, on that question that you were asking about Hank, Hank's a class act, hands down. Listen, I think every fighter out there has an alter ego, right? You have to have it. It's the same thing. Every man has that. You know what I mean? It's if somebody's coming, trying to break in through your window, you're not gonna say, "Excuse me, who's there?" Right? You're gonna have your alter ego say the other part. But he was a class act, and he had to be because he was going into the ring obviously with a good fighter, but with a fighter that's not as experienced as him. Him and his wife personified class, and we thank Hank for that. Mr. Birchfield, his promoter, personified class as well. Everything went well. I don't think that they said or did anything. It was out of the ordinary because we expected it. Maybe a little bit towards the interview, the final press conference, but that's natural. I mean, their adrenaline's going up, but no, absolutely not. Hank, he won the fight, and at the end of the day, I think it was his experience that won it. John busted his butt through this workout. He got the help from Robert Alcazar, so he did all the things that he should have done. The thing I think that got him most was he didn't go with the game plan that Mr. Alcazar had set for him, which was go to the body often and early and keep working and keep working. There was times in the fight that John didn't start really fighting until round 7, late 6, 7, but in round 8 and 9 he hurt him. It was evident. and it didn't take much. And these are experiences. I'm not saying these things to beat up John. It's experience. It's something that you got to learn. But if he had more confidence in his corner, in the team that he has around him, to go out there, that's why trust has to be a big deal to these fighters. You have to have that, and you have to believe in who you're working with. Because if he would have went out there and if he would have worked the body, and it's not even about power. Just boom, keep him moving. We realized that Lundy came off of a knee surgery, so you want to keep him moving. And by not doing those things, at the end of the day, Lundy's experience is what overcame. It's what got him that W. But he did get hurt by Delperdang. Delperdang stunned him a little bit. Some of the people were watching the live feed that Adrian Broner had on, and even Adrian Broner was yelling out, from what they tell me, "Oh man, he's about to go down. Oh, you can't go out this way," or something in that nature. And everyone's seen it. You know, the people loved what he did because obviously he was getting outclassed the first 6 rounds, not because he didn't have what it takes to win, but because he did his own game plan. And it's worked for him in the past, which is let the guy punch himself out, and then he was going to come in and retaliate. That doesn't work for championship caliber fighters, you know, and we learned that. You know, we learned that. I feel, from my point of view, that we have a bright future with John. Now that was John's 12th fight. 12th. To go in with a caliber of fighter like Hank Lundy, I mean, if that doesn't raise his stock, I don't know what will. He has a bright future. I'm behind him 100%. We're not letting off, we're not releasing our foot from that gas pedal. We're moving forward, and he has a fight. More than likely, the date is January 27th. There will be 3 WBC title fights that'll be in Aguascalientes. I just got off the phone that the fights were approved with Abraham Ibarra from the WBC or CMB in Mexico. So we're excited about that. And we're also going to be doing shows out here, and John's going to be the man in our promotion company, along with Joshua Connolly. And hopefully if Louis Rose wakes up and gets back in shape, then he'll be part of it. But it'll be John Delperdang, and then Joshua Connolly will be fighting on the card that we also have in March here. You know, but overall, I was very proud of John. I still am, and I know he learned a lot, and we learned a lot too. We learned a lot too, and made us grow.
That's great. Well, you talked about Robert Alcazar. John did some training without Robert prior to this fight. For those who don't know, Robert Alcazar was Oscar De La Hoya, one of his first trainers, and the trainer that took him to an Olympic gold medal and to multiple world championships. So can you speak a little bit about working with Robert? He came in a couple weeks before the fight, is that correct? Or maybe a month or so. Can you talk about working with him?
Oh, Mr. Alcazar is a great man. You know, hey, sorry, coach. I'm sorry that I didn't do the game plan, and happy birthday. His birthday was the day of the fight. So, I was supposed to win the title for his birthday for my family too, so I kind of let them down. But I'm just looking forward to just continuing to learn. You know, I'm learning a lot with him, and I want to just continue to, you know, because like with a month, less than a month working with him, I learned a lot. But it was only less than a month. You know, it's very hard to learn or to keep it like solid in your head. And in times of when you're under pressure, it's kind of hard to keep something in your head that you're going to learn for a month. You know, I was thinking about it, but I just let my emotions get the best of me during the fight. But I'm looking forward to continue learning, and you know, within 6 months, I'm pretty sure there's gonna, you know, I'm gonna be fighting a lot tough opposition than Hank Lundy. You know, with what I learned from Coach Alcazar.
Well, and that's a good thing that Big Bird's boxing promotions and Robert Alcazar are going to start working more closely together. Correct? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, don't say that. Say it like that because I don't want to say something that Robert's not committed to. But we are working together in the gym, Crossroads Boxing, and we've got something special coming out the beginning of the year. Where we're going to move the facility, not because we have to, but because we want to get a fresh start. Just so that you guys know, I'm a big fan of Oscar De La Hoya and everything that he did growing up in South Central Los Angeles. You know, as a kid, we didn't have anyone that we could relate to. I know we had Julio Cesar Chavez, and we loved him, but he was more down south. Make sense? And for Chicano growing up in boxing, I mean, I related to Oscar De La Hoya and everything that he did and how he defeated the best, never ducked anyone. I was a big fan. And you know, Robert Alcazar is in the gym. He does not work for me. He is his own man. Let me be clear about that. And man, we're just so blessed that he's there. The humble man, one of the most humblest men that I've met, because a guy who's accomplished all of that, to still be humble and to still talk with a soft voice, that's something that I admire. We want to thank you, Alcazar, for the work that you did do with John, and we're still moving forward, you know, with Alcazar, and we plan on learning a lot from him and getting better and better as we can. He already had opportunity. They already offered us a fight, but I don't want to do that. Robert Alcazar had asked me prior to this fight, and I didn't listen, to not to take it and to give him 6 months with John. He only trained John for the 1 month. And believe you me, if he didn't, I don't know if he would have been able to last his 12 rounds like he did. But what Robert Alcazar did with John in 30 days is amazing. And that's not an overstatement. That's an understatement. But I believe that we're not going to take these fights that we were offered. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give into Mr. Alcazar's request of being with John for at least 3 to 6 months before we take on a high caliber opponent. John will be fighting a high caliber opponent in January for the title because we have those commitments. But after that, we're just going through from this point until maybe June or July is Alcazar time, and see what the master can do with this young Jedi here.
That's great. That's great. So we can get into the fight, or Joe, do you want to part 2 this so we can do the fight? Keep going. Okay. So let's get into the fight. This was the fight poster right here for December 30th, 2016 for the UBF lightweight world title. Pretty nice setup here, and also online on the Boom website were videos of the press conference, which also looked like a pretty nice setup. You know, looked real professional with the banner in the background and the 2 fighters on each side. I mean, that looked pretty good. You know, especially being for a promotion of this size. So getting into the fight day. We also spoke about Broner, and Broner saw you backstage and gave you a little "what's up." Is that correct?
No, I took a picture of him. I asked him, "Hey, can I get a picture with him?" He was like, "Yeah."
And you know, he's pro Lundy, but that was pretty nice of Broner to fighter to kind of give you that kind of graciousness and kindness. Correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We really didn't talk too long. No, we only talked like 10 seconds. And he just told me, like, "Hey, you're gonna fight Lundy?" You know, it was not, there's no more. It wasn't like he was kind or nothing. It was just, you know, if it would have been anybody else asking him, you know, there's probably like everybody in there, all 100 people that were there, would probably asked him, like, "Hey, got this people."
Okay. All right. So was that like a couple hours before you went into the ring, or?
Yeah, it was about like an hour or so.
Okay. All right. So your walkout going into the fight and the first couple of rounds. Go ahead and talk to us about that.
Oh, so the walkout was cool. You know, I already knew what I had to do when I was, you know, all the preparation was for that moment. So we're walking up, bam, get in the ring. He gets in the ring. You know, we're just staring at each other. Touch gloves, bang, bell ring, and I go out. I'm already having it in my head that I'm already thinking in my head, all right, I'm going to take it a little slow. It's my first 12-round fight. I'm going to take it a little slow. And I not only took it slow, I took it extremely slow. Like, I didn't throw no punches. It's a real big disappointment. But, you know, it was a good learning experience.
What were you seeing from Lundy in his first few rounds?
Just jabs. He was throwing jabs for my stomach. I mean, he wasn't nothing like nothing that I haven't seen before. You know, it wasn't like it was like a special kind of fight. And he was smaller than I thought he was gonna be. He was a lot smaller. A lot of the sparring that I had for this fight was, you know, they're all bigger than me. So he actually, I don't know if we're probably the same size. You know how you see someone you think they're smaller than you.
Right.
But he looked really small. You know, he looked really skinny. But it was just like a lot of jabs to the stomach. You know, 1-2s. You know, he didn't come out southpaw. You know, we were planning, the whole preparation for this fight, he was gonna come out southpaw. He came out orthodox. He was only southpaw for 3 rounds.
Okay. So
Only
he
3
was
rounds
southpaw for those first 3 rounds.
No. No, he came
He
out
started out
orthodox.
orthodox.
He came out orthodox.
Okay.
He was only southpaw for 3 of the 12 rounds.
Okay.
He was only southpaw. It was round 5, and I don't know the other 2 rounds because
He was orthodox most of the fight.
Yeah.
I think once he started getting in trouble, he really he changes up to give him something to think about. But if I can touch on that question, you know, you guys know that I do promotions up in Mexico with Big Burns Boxing, and you know, I tell John when we were at the conference, at the press conference, I say, because one of the things that I do with my fighters is this. One of the things that I was concerned with is the moment too big for this kid? Does he feel that the moment is going to overwhelm him? I mean, those are things that I think about. I mean, he's worried about his opponent. I'm thinking about more of the mental aspect of the fights, right? Being the center of attention, the moment, walking in, all eyes on me type of thing. And things that everything that what I do when I'm managing a fighter is to build them up to that. So I take them to Mexico, needless to say, smaller caliber of fight venue, even though mines are bigger than the ones we were at. But, you know, I put him in front as a main event. I let him talk to the people. I let him be the moment. And he was able to take all that. And it didn't appear at first that the moment was too big for John. You know, I wanted to kind of build him up. And I remember in the conference, like I was saying, I said everything that we've done, whether it be in Mexico, whether it be in California or Texas, everything that we've done, all the people that we talked to, everything that we've done was for this very moment. And one of the things that I would tell all you young fighters out there is don't live with regrets. You know, John was referring earlier about, oh, am I going to do this? You've got to let that go because it's got to be time. It's time to shine when you're out there. And the one thing that I would tell you young fighters is don't live with regrets. Go out there like a warrior so that you don't have these at the end.
Yeah, because of